What's up, vinyl community? So this is a reaction video. This is a reaction to G.I. Saunders' reaction to Dylan over at Noble Records reaction video to what's going on with the music industry today, vinyl collecting. What's going on with the vinyl industry today? And they both, those videos are great. Check them out. They both come at the perspective of I'm a record shop owner um, and collector, and this is what I've seen. These are the trends that I've seen, and gosh, man, it sure is not. Things are different. I'll put it that way, and I'll let you guys watch the video. So I want to react to their videos from the standpoint of a consumer. I'm just a guy. I'm just a dad on a budget who loves vinyl. So, how has what's happened over the last 4 or 5 years affected me and the way that I collect records? My story is a little bit different. I mean, I'm 59 years old. I started collecting records when I was 11 years old and got up to about 150 records, mostly things like Beatles and Stones and Who and Yes and Jethro Tull and stuff like that. And then ended up losing that collection. And then a couple of years later, by the time when I was about 17, 18 years old, I started really getting into collecting again. And so by the time I was close to 30, I had somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 records. Ended up having to part ways with that collection as well. So by the time I ended up having to part with that collection, I really was mostly buying CDs anyway. It's just what we all did, and it's what we thought everyone was going to do forever for the rest of the time. And so that's one of the things that made it a little easier to let go of that second collection. And then I went years without records at all. As a matter of fact, I gave my stereo away to my son, and really because I was listening to a CD player and speakers, I didn't need a turntable and all the other stuff. So uh, something happened. I can't remember when it was, probably 2002, 2003. A buddy of mine was just downsizing, getting rid of some stuff, and asked me if I wanted some records. And even though I didn't have a turntable, I was like, you bet. And so he gave me probably 75 records, mostly older Americana type stuff, John Prine, Steve Goodman, stuff like that. Was really glad to get the records, even though I couldn't listen to them for a while. And then my family and I moved from Birmingham to Decatur, just down the street from my father-in-law. I had a turntable, and a couple of buddies of mine that had actually worked for me that were DJs on the side had upgraded their system. They had a leftover turntable, and just because they knew I was a music junkie, they gave it to me. So I had a turntable and I had records. And that was about it. We've moved to Decatur, and my father-in-law down the street says, "Hey, you want some records?" I'm tired of looking at them. Yeah, so he gave me about 100 really cool, mostly older original blues records. Um, and so now I've got this pretty decent collection, almost a couple of hundred records, and I don't even have anything to listen to them on. And so finally, my wife and I broke down, decided, okay, and drove on down to Birmingham to Tom's Sound. I want to give him a plug. He's got a fantastic situation there. You can buy vinyl from him. You can buy instruments from him. You can buy turntables and speakers and receivers and all kinds of stuff. He's even got recording studios there. So all kinds of cool stuff going on, and he'll do you right. So I went down, I got a receiver, got a couple of new speakers, and he threw in a CD player for free. I came back up, set my system up, and next thing you know, Jed's a millionaire. Started going back through and listening to those records and realized all over again why it was that I had fallen in love with vinyl so many years ago. Uh, each vinyl record is it's a piece of art, really, and the music sounds better in my opinion, even if it's an old scratchy poppy vinyl. I love that. It's like my friend Dylan says, when I put a record on that's got some pops and some scratchers or whatever, I just pretend that that's fireplace noise in the background. And I love that. So around 2018, 2019 is when I really got back into collecting records. The next thing you know, COVID does come along. And I was fortunate enough, we closed, I manage a retail store. We closed it in the middle of March. We didn't open again until the middle of June. So it was the longest paid vacation I had ever had because I was fortunate enough to continue to draw a paycheck. The next thing you know, we've got these STEMI checks coming. We can't go anywhere to spend it. And yeehaw, of course, we had some great times. We camped out in the backyard. We built pallet forts and compost heaps and gardened and did all kinds of cool stuff. But boy, did I buy some records. And I got to admit, most of them came from Amazon. So before I go any deeper into this, and yes, I promise I'm going to show some records, but before I go any deeper into this, to me, the whole issue, and really the only issue, is why do you collect records? Are you like those people that the guys talk about in the videos, that all of a sudden you've got time and money on your hands and you thought, man, this is a great time to start collecting records, and you've collected 200 or 300 records and now you're over it and you're wanting to dump them? Those guys are talking about the influx of people that are calling saying, hey, do you guys buy records? Um, or are you like me? I'm a music lover. I am a music lover first. I'm a collector second. Okay. And so I loved the fact that all of a sudden there were an awful lot of options and that I had money to be able to actually take advantage of those options. And these guys, as record shop collectors, are talking about people wanting to sell their collections, and it's the 400 millionth time that they've seen a Led Zeppelin 3 come through, or a Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon come through, or whatever, even as original copies, right? Because tons of those records were pressed. And then they'll come across something that looks rare, and they flip it over, and it's a repress, and it's not worth the time of day to them, right? I'm coming at things from a different angle. I'm a music lover first. I don't buy my records to resell them ever. Um, I don't buy audiophile copies of things. I buy the thing that is going to sound good that I can afford. So let's take a look at a couple of records. Let's use some examples. The very first record that I was so excited about during this period of time is John Cale's Paris 1919. I really, really, really wanted this record, and original copies of this record were $100 and up because of Discogs. Let's talk about Discogs for a moment. I think that Discogs is a wonderful, cool tool. I do. If nothing else, for insurance purposes, because I've needed things like this before. You've got a receipt basically of all of your records and what they're worth, whether it's low end, median end, or high end. But because of Discogs, and because all of us have cell phones, the actual value of a record is a couple of clicks away all the time. So every record store owner knows the value of what they have. The idea of finding an original copy of this in the wild anymore for 15, 20 bucks, forget about it. It wasn't going to happen. And so I am really thankful that Four Men with Beards, who I've heard get slammed, decided to repress this. And I was able to buy it from Amazon for 25 bucks. and now it's in my collection. I have it. I own it. I can look at it. I can take it out and play it. I can have an experience with it. Oh, yeah. And by the way, I love the music. Okay. It probably sounds better than a found copy of an original would. Okay. I personally could care less that it's not an original. And I don't really care about its resale value because I'm going to keep it. I don't have any plans on reselling any of my records. There are just things that I love. And because this is my third collection, um, I'm not buying Led Zeppelin 3 again. I don't care if I find it for $10. I'm not buying all of those records that I bought 2 and 3 and 4 and sometimes 5 times. I'm not buying those again. When I buy records these days, it tends to be records that I've never owned, whether it was older stuff that I never got around to, or whether it's newer stuff that is newer stuff. When it comes to the older stuff that I never got around to, there's plenty of music. I'll be doing a Kinks video within another month or so. I didn't discover the Kinks until last year. I knew of them as a singles band. Yes, don't get me wrong. I didn't understand the depth and breadth of their catalog until last year. So that's a whole nother video. But if it's a repress, if it's a, whatever it is, if it sounds good and it's affordable, I'm all in. Okay, let's look at another one. This is Miles Davis. Ascensor, well, you guys know how to pronounce that. So this is a jazz track reissue, okay? I think I picked this up from Amazon for $15. Look how beautiful it is. Look how beautiful that record is. Does it have any resale value? I could care less. Man, I own this record now. Look how beautiful it is, you know? Here's another one, Art Blakey and the Big Beat. So this isn't even the original cover. On the original Blue Note release, this was kind of a periwinkle blue, and this was pretty much like it is. This is a Not Now music reissue. There are serious collectors that would look at this and go, that's a piece of junk. Man, no, it's not. It was $15 and it's absolutely fantastic and it sounds killer. So look, if I had the original The Big Beat, Blue Note label, original copy, number one, I'd be afraid to play it, right? Number two, I mean, I'd be afraid to get it out of its sleeve, right? I know guys that have comic book collections. They don't even look at their comic books because they're afraid of messing them up or smudging the ink or whatever. Record collectors are the same way. If I own this, an original copy of this record, and I'm not sure what that goes for, but I'm guessing somewhere in the hundreds of dollars, okay? I certainly wouldn't listen to it. I probably wouldn't take it out of its cover. With this, I listen to it all the time. I'm not worried about it all the time. Oh, and by the way, this probably sounds cleaner than that original would. Now, I know. I've got older Turd Label Warner Brothers stuff and older Blue Note stuff. And yes, there are labels that really did quality pressing that 50, 60 years on, they still sound great. Absolutely. But for multiple reasons in my world, this was the way to go. I'm so glad I did. I've got it in my collection now. Let's talk a little bit more about Art Blakey. This is a Blue Note reissue, okay? This is on Blue Note Records, and it's got their 75 years of Blue Note sleeve, so you know it's not an original, but it's got that killer Blue Note label. This is a reissue. I think this came out in 2018. Well, it's come out multiple times. My copy came out, I think, in 2018. I got it for $20 or less. I know that, okay? So I'm so glad that I have it. I'm so glad that I have it. I could care less that it's a reissue, okay? Here's another one. Charles Mingus, Blues and Roots. Now this one's on the, God forbid, Wax Time label, okay? This record sounds fantastic. Wednesday night prayer meeting leaps through my speakers. It sounds fantastic. 15 bucks. You know, I can see why record shop owners would view Amazon as kind of like the Antichrist, you know? Um, but with the Prime membership, I get a killer deal. I get free shipping. Most of what's going to be in that category at the Amazon Prime stuff is going to be newer stuff. Even if it's older, it's a newer press, newer reissue, and generally 15, 20 bucks, free shipping, and it's mine. Are you kidding me? Charles Mingus, Blues and Roots. Man, you can't go wrong. The guys talked for a moment about, hey JoJo, come do your thing if you need to, or you can just hang out and listen. Um, the guys also talked about Walmart, and they also talked about colored vinyl, and they talked about all the people that walked through Walmart and they saw a record and they were like, "Ooh, limited edition, colored vinyl. That would be cool. Ooh, and I bet that's going to be worth a bunch of money one day." Well, they're right. It is really cool, but they're not going to be worth a whole bunch of money one day. And there's audiophile people that think that colored vinyl doesn't even sound as good as the other stuff, okay? This is, what is this? Translucent Pepsi, yeah. This is clear vinyl, okay? Here's the deal. There are a few records that I've had in both collections that I will collect again because they were so good the first time around. And even though we've talked about Rumors ad nauseum, you cannot deny that it is a perfect record and it should be in pretty much everyone's collection. I'll put that up later. And so I wanted a new copy of Rumors, and there it was at Walmart. And it was like 22 bucks on colored vinyl. Now it's mine, okay? And it sounds fantastic. So I'm really, thank you, Walmart, okay? I appreciate that. Let's talk about one last record here. This is Sam Cooke, Portrait of a Legend, 1951 to 1964. Double album, gatefold, fantastic record, okay? Sam Cooke, man. It sounds fantastic. This is on the Abco label, okay? It's great packaging. They come with, anyway, it's just great packaging. 15 bucks from Walmart's website, okay? I got a new copy of the Rolling Stones, Hot Rocks, for 15 bucks from Walmart's website. And so I just wanted to throw this stuff out from the side of the fence of an actual purchaser of records, an individual that loves collecting vinyl records. Now, I love the music first. If there's an obscure record, I'm trying to think of an example. I'll give you an example. I love Joe Strummer. I've wanted a copy of Global A Go-Go for years. I haven't been able to find one in the wild. There's a few for sale through Discogs. They're easily $100 and up. I've wanted a vinyl copy of Los Lobos, Colossal Head, for years. Los Lobos deserves a vinyl reissue, by the way. So does Paul Simon. A lot of different. Anyway, I've wanted a copy of Colossal Head for years. There's a few for sale on Discogs. They're all well over $100. I'm not going to be getting that vinyl anytime soon unless someone reissues it. Okay, I can't justify spending $100 for a record. Okay, not even one like that. And so I have them on CD because I want the music. I want to be able to go to the music. It's just like a library. I want to be able to go back and pull that music whenever I want. So I've got to be able to own it to do that. Well, I can't own the vinyl. I'll own the CD. In some cases, there are things that are so rare as vinyl that even the CDs are ungodly expensive. And in those cases, I'll buy the MP3s or stream them or download them from YouTube still so that I can have them, okay? I'm a music lover first. I'm a collector second. Just to give you guys an idea of where we're at, I started off with those records that Carrie Schuler had given me, those 75 Americana and country records. I added to it the 100 blues records that my father-in-law Phil gave me. That gave me 175 records that I started with when I had in my collection before I started collecting again for the third time around. This will be the last time, but I love collecting this time around because it's a different. I've had a paradigm shift, as it were, um, since I'm up to 1,033 records. Okay, so from 2018 to 2024, do the math. I went from 175 records to about 1,033. I know exactly how many I have because of Discogs. Okay, so have fun with it. It's fun either way. I'm hoping you guys. Hey, GI. Noble, since you've got these crates, this influx of vinyl coming your way, are we going to start seeing prices go down? I would love that. Okay. I want to, and as a matter of fact, coming up this week, I am going to be blessed with an opportunity to go out to visit a local record store. The owner's going to let me come in and interview him. It is one of the coolest record stores I've ever been in, and that's crazy to say because it's not in Athens, Georgia, it's not in San Francisco, it's not in Seattle, it's not in it's right here in North Alabama, and really cool, funky little record store. And I will continue to frequent his record store. I just bought a few bluegrass records from him yesterday. Because we need to keep those mom and pops open because the fun of digging for records is a blast, okay? It's a bummer in that I know as I'm digging through those records that if it had been 2015, going through the same crate of records, I probably could have picked those bluegrass records up. I probably could have said, hey, what do you take for these? The answer would have probably been $5 a pop, okay? Now they're 15 and 20 bucks a pop. Supply and demand. Okay, so I get it, but I'm going to go out and I'm going to interview him and do a shoot of his store and talk to him about how he sees. It's crazy that this thread came out right as it occurred to me to go talk to a record shop owner about how they see the current shape of vinyl. So anyway, that's where we're at. Hey, at the end of the day, records, man, right? They're great. Oh, they're great. And whatever it is, whatever reason it is that you collect records, man, have fun with it. And by the way, if you've got a collection that you're wanting to dump and you're wanting to let it go pretty easy, you give me a call, okay? In the meantime, everybody take it easy. Have a great afternoon. I appreciate you hanging. Weigh in on this. What do you think about the state of record buying today? Is it better for you? Is it, the pros and cons? What's going on? All right, guys, take care. We appreciate you. See you later.